She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She stared directly at the man who murdered her sister and broke him down using nothing but his own words. Alivea Goncalves entered that courtroom not as a grieving sister, but as a calculated force of vengeance. Every sentence she spoke wasn't just grief, it was strategy. And Bryan Kohberger? He had no defense. This is the story of how Alivea dismantled the man who thought he'd silenced her family forever. In November 2022, 4 University of Idaho students were found brutally murdered in their off-campus home in Moscow, Idaho. The victims, Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogen, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. The killings stunned the entire nation. 4 young lives gone in one night, without a clear motive or suspect. For weeks there were no arrests, no leads, just fear and silence. But Kaylee's sister, Alivea, wasn't going to let it end there. She dug deep into social media, psychology, and even true crime profiles, trying to understand what kind of person could do something like this. Then came the name, Bryan Kohberger, a 28-year-old criminology PhD student studying serial killers, patterns, and the psychology of murder. He wasn't just interested in crime, he was obsessed. He posted in forums asking twisted questions like, how did you feel after committing your crime? Did you prepare for the attack? How did you choose your victim? Alivea saw those posts and remembered. Her sister had once said she felt like someone was following her, watching her. Bryan's online trail led straight to the mindset of a man who believed he was smarter than everyone else. In the investigation, there was talk of a second weapon, one that was never found. Alivea brought that up too.
Hello. They were 2 pieces of a whole, the perfect yin and yang. They are everything that you loved, accepted, vibrant.
After Alivea sat down, the room remained still. Bryan Kohberger didn't respond. He didn't flinch, but for once, the man obsessed with studying killers had finally been studied himself, not by a detective, not by a profiler, but by his sister. Alivea Goncalves didn't raise her voice. She didn't beg. She didn't cry. She delivered justice not with vengeance, but with precision. But even after Alivea's statement, the questions didn't stop. In fact, they only grew louder. Why did Bryan Kohberger choose that house? Was it random, or had he been watching them for months? Investigators later revealed his phone had pinged near the girl's home 12 times before the murders. 12 times. Alivea knew this, and when she said,
"Stand here and give you what you want. I won't offer you tears, I won't offer you trembling. Disappointments like you thrive on pain, on fear."
Podium, there were no cheers, no applause, just silence. But that silence wasn't emptiness. It was the sound of truth finally landing, not with anger, not with violence, but with cold precision. Alivea didn't come to the courtroom to cry for her sister. She came to haunt the man who tried to erase her. And in the end, she did exactly that. In the quiet college town of Moscow, Idaho, no one could have predicted what was coming. 4 friends, 1 home, and a night that ended in horror. Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogen, Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin. On November 13, 2022, all 4 were murdered in their sleep in the house they shared near campus. No signs of forced entry, no known enemies, no clear motive. The town went from calm to chaos while investigators scrambled for leads. Kaylee's sister, Alivea Goncalves, began her own search, not for a suspect, but for answers. She wasn't just mourning, she was studying and preparing for a moment she knew would one day come. The face-to-face with the man who did it. 28-year-old Bryan Kohberger was a criminology PhD student, a man who didn't just study serial killers, he thought like one. He posted chilling surveys online, asking convicted criminals things like, how did you select your victims? How did you feel after committing the crime? What did you do to prepare? He didn't know that one day those very words would be read back to him in a courtroom by the sister of his victim. Investigators later revealed that Kohberger's phone had pinged near the victim's home at least 12 times before the murders. He was watching, stalking. And when he was finally arrested, he showed no emotion. But Alivea? She had been watching him too, reading, digging, waiting. Alethea's statement wasn't long, but every word was tactical. She mentioned the rumors of a second weapon still missing, the timeline inconsistencies, the way Kohberger tried to act like he was still in control. And then she said something that stopped the room cold. You are no longer the one watching. You were the one being watched. In one sentence, she flipped the narrative. Kohberger, once a man who thought he was smarter than the system, had just been outmaneuvered by the sister of one of his victims. Her delivery wasn't loud, it was surgical, and in that courtroom, she didn't just get justice, she left him with something far worse than prison. Shame. Shame that will echo every time he closes his eyes. Shame that spreads through every headline. Shame that says, you didn't win, you were destroyed by her. If you believe justice doesn't always come from the system, but from those who stand up, subscribe for more stories like this. This is Vanished and Unsolved, and we're just getting started.